Hello guys, I'm Unblessed Data and welcome to another review. This time we have Hannibal Season 1 episode... Well, I don't really know what to call this one because it is episode 4 if you're going in order. This is the 4th episode to air, but it actually is episode 5 because episode 4 was actually pulled from TV due to the Boston bombing. It had to kind of do with that, so they just figured to pull it off so it didn't, cause any problems or anything. So this actually is episode 5, but it is considered episode 4. So, I'm just going to put it episode 5, but yeah, it's actually 4 in the sequence. Now, episode 4 that got pulled off the air on TV, you can actually see as webisodes on the internet, so you can go look that up, and they're kind of just cut little parts of the episode just to fill you in on the story, and it has to do more about Hannibal and Abigail. So yeah, really cool. You can see that if you just Google search it, it'll come up. So yeah, but let's get right into this review. And this episode is really creepy, but yeah, we'll get to that part in a minute. So Will's in the middle of the road, and he's like kind of asleep, kind of not. He's sleepwalking, and we don't really know why. And kind of cops come up and kind of bring him back home, like, you know where you are, and he's not even aware of what's happening. Now he goes in with Dr. Lecter, kind of talk about what's happening, because obviously Dr. Lecter is Will's shrink, and he basically says the sleepwalking can be caused by stress, it might be a seizure, you don't really know. So, even difficulty with anger situations, that could cause it too, which, that kind of could be a possibility because of all that Will's going through. So, now we see a random man, and we can see this guy's kind of probably going to be the killer, and he sees people's heads burning, like they're on fire, and we don't really know what this means. Then we find out that this guy actually is the killer, and he was in like a little a motel. So they go into this motel room that this man was staying at, and we'll actually call him the Angel Maker because that's what they call him. So the Angel Maker was staying in this room, and we can actually see he killed 2 people. And the way he kills them is disgusting. He actually cuts their back into 2 pieces, like the skin on their back, and folds it up so it looks like wings. And he had these people kneeling and praying over his bed, dead, and a fishing wire was holding them up, and he was just laying in the bed like that. And yeah, so it looks like angels are praying over him. Really disgusting. The bodies are all naked, blood everywhere, their backs cut up. Really disgusting. Probably the most gruesome thing I've seen on Hannibal so far is definitely this. So yeah, so then Will's kind of trying to figure out, okay, what's this guy doing? What's his motive? And he says, you know what? He thinks he's righteous. He's elevating them to be angels, so he thinks he's doing the right thing. So then Will puts himself in the killer's shoes again, the vroom, vroom, vroom thing, and he actually lays in the bed with the angels like surrounding him, and he's into being the killer, and he's saying, I allow you to become angels, that's the way this killer's thinking. He thinks that he's like liberating these people, and we find out a little bit more about that later. So then we go to Lecter, Dr. Hannibal Lecter, and Hannibal is preparing some meals, and he's actually preparing 2 dishes for guests and 1 for himself. So yeah, 2 people are here, and it's actually Jack Crawford, and his wife is actually named Bella. It's actually not her real name, it's just a nickname he gives her, but yeah, Bella. And then all of a sudden Bella's like, you know what, I don't want to eat this, and why? Well, it's meat, animal cruelty, I don't eat meat. And Dr. Lecter even says, don't worry, no need for unnecessary cruelty and pain. I buy my meat from a butcher that puts the animals in no pain at all. And it's like, you know what, that's really funny because you do the exact opposite with human beings. So, yeah, a lot of irony in the show, but yeah. And then we find out that Dr. Hannibal Lecter has a very keen sense of smell. He's really good at smelling. And he actually tells a story that he actually smelt that his teacher, when he was a kid, had cancer before she even knew. So that's kind of a hint at what's going to happen later on in the episode, but we'll get to that. But keep that in mind, because now we know that might play another role in the next episode. We don't really know. So then we find out after autopsy the bodies with these angel wings that the angel maker killed, that they lived about for 15 minutes / seconds after he cut their backs and everything. They lived for a little while after that, and they actually figure out that the angel maker has a tumor in his brain, and he's afraid to die in his sleep, so he has angels to watch over him while he's sleeping. That's pretty messed up, but we can find out that a little bit more about him that's even more messed up later. So yeah. Then all of a sudden we see Mrs. Crawford again, Bella, and she has an appointment with Dr. Lecter as a patient for, because he's a shrink. And she kind of admits to him that she's actually seeing someone else. She's not faithful to Jack. And she's like, doesn't want to tell him because, he has already all this stuff to worry about. I don't want to put him through more. And then that's kind of cut off, so yeah, that's kind of a separate little storyline going with Jack and Bella. But anyway, the tumor that the angel maker has, it might be affecting the way he thinks, you don't really know. And, Lecter is talking to Will, trying to figure out what the angel maker is doing and everything. He does that often with the killers he's trying to find. And basically at this point, Lecter's kind of trying to pull away Will from Jack. He's kind of almost trying to make Will turn on Jack. So we don't really know what's happening there. But I'm sure Lecter has his motives to do everything that he does. Yeah, then we see even some issues between Jack and Bella, and Jack kind of knows. He's like, I'm not going to ask you to insult you that, I think you're seeing someone else. I'm not even going to insult you by asking that. But we can see that Jack really trusts her and really loves her enough to really trust her on herself. So, yeah, we can see that. And then we go back to the Angel Maker. Angel Maker sees another burning head, and he killed again. And this time he raised the guy up. He's really high on a building, like one of those, when they're building a building, those little stands they have to work. He kind of raised him up on that. So he's hanging, like Angel, arms spread open with the cut back again. And then we actually find out, this is really messed up, that the Angel Maker cut off his own genitals, which is, I don't even know why, but we find out that angels don't actually have genitals, so he's kind of making himself more like an angel. Again, really messed up. And then we go back to Will and Jack, and the tension even escalates even more, saying, you know what, Will can figure something out, and he's saying to Jack, you're the head of the behavioral science, why don't you figure it out yourself? And again, Jack gets really angry at that, so again, more tension between that. And, this episode was a lot of things about Jack Crawford, so I actually like that because I really like the actor, but I'd like to see more on Lecter and Will, because that's what's really interesting about the show. But again, this episode was pretty good. After that, they kind of figure out that the Angel Maker is actually killing criminals. So in a sense, he's kind of saying, I'm making them into angels. I'm kind of undoing what their evil actions, making them angels. So then another session with Lecter and Bella happens, and we find out that Bella actually has cancer, and it's kind of untreatable cancer, so she doesn't really have any choice but to kind of slowly die, which is kind of really sad. But so we can kind of see why she's having all these problems with Jack and everything. And Lecter kind of, I think, feels bad for her too in a sense, but not really because he's Dr. Hannibal Lecter. But so then Will wakes up again, and he actually sleepwalked again, and he's standing on his roof. Really weird, really awkward, but we can see something's really eating at him. It's, his job is really affecting him as a person, which isn't good. And we'll see the repercussions of that later, but yeah. So, again, they're talking more about the Angel Maker. He decides if people are naughty or nice. And then at this point, they find out who the Angel Maker actually is. They have a picture of him. So they actually know who his family is, who his wife is. He has 2 kids. So they find his wife and they interview him. And basically, she says, he wanted to be alone. This is the Angel Maker's wife talking. He wanted to be alone because he has, a tumor, cancer. He wanted to be all alone. He was really alienating himself from me. And at this point, Jack has a revelation saying, wait a minute, Bella's doing the same thing. I think she has cancer. And it really hits Jack really hard and saying, I was kind of thinking the wrong thing here. She actually has cancer. So, yeah, and even the expression on Jack Crawford's face when he realizes this, really, really awesome. Really good acting overall. And again, I'll say this again, I said it before, the acting in the show is really amazing. So, yeah, Jack has that revelation right there. And then, Will starts asking the Angel Maker's wife some questions like, was he ever religious? No, never religious, but he suffocated near death in a burning house when he was a boy. And the firefighter said, oh, you must have had a guardian angel to survive that. And it happened in a farm. So Will and Jack go straight to this farm that he grew up in as a kid. So we can see why he sees the burning heads now. He almost died in a fire. And we can see why he makes some angels, why he cuts up their backs and makes some wings. Because, the reference that, oh, you must have had a guardian angel to live. So we can really see why everything is panning out the way it is, why he acts the way he is. So they go to the farm, and they actually find the Angel Maker there, dead. He killed himself, made himself into an angel. He cut his own back open, peeled it up, and actually hanged himself, not by the neck, just, by the arms, up in the rafters of the farm. So really gruesome to see, but yeah, he killed himself. He made himself an angel, and basically the point of that was, it wasn't man's choice for him to die. It wasn't God's choice for him to die. It was his own choice that killed him. So I think that's what he really wanted to do. He was controlling his own destiny, basically. And then at this point, Will brings up kind of what was eating at him the whole time. He basically says, I don't think I can do this anymore. It's really getting at me. It's really affecting me. This is really bad for me. And basically Jack says, you know what, Will, if you want to quit, quit. And, you can prevent killings, but if you just want to go give lectures in your school, you can do that, and, people can still die without your help. So that really affected him. But then, all of a sudden, the Angel Maker is walking toward Will. I guess he lured him somewhere and was walking toward him. And he says, I see what you are, and he sees Will's head burning. So, oh, you're a criminal, basically. And, but Will is actually hallucinating because it actually didn't happen. So, yeah, Will is constantly hallucinating at this point. This job is really affecting him. The good thing is he didn't see Hobbs at all this episode, so that's good. Maybe, he's growing from that. That's not really bothering him anymore. But it's basically the whole job as a whole is bothering him at this point, so, yeah. Other than that, then Jack kind of confronts Bella and says, you know what, I figured out you have cancer. Let's talk about it, And she says, it's not treatable. And Jack even says, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to help you. Like, why didn't you tell me sooner? And she says, I thought if I didn't tell you, then maybe our lives wouldn't change and, nothing would be different. And, it was a really touching moment there between, like, a wife and a husband. I think it was really well done. And the kind of connection it had with the story was kind of cool, too, how Jack kind of realized it through the Angel Maker. So that was really cool. I really liked that. And then Will basically wants to talk to Jack. Jack's sitting in a chair, and he's kind of thinking to himself. And Will comes up to him and says, you know what, we need to talk, and I'm not going to leave until we start talking. If you don't want to talk right now, that's fine, but I'm not leaving until we talk. The ending little part of this episode was them just sitting in a chair, not talking, complete silence, and the episode just ends. So, where's it going to go from here now? I'm not sure. I really like it, though, and I'm pretty sure it's going to get renewed. It got really good ratings on NBC, so NBC is really known for canceling shows, but I think this did good enough for them to keep it. I really hope it did. And considering this whole season, I'm pretty sure it's done because, well, I'm pretty sure only 5 episodes were planned for Season 1 so far, and kind of the 5 episodes are done now. Even though this is the 4th episode, again, they pulled one. So I think that's kind of weared out the whole well, unless they want to order more episodes for this season. I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out soon enough. But overall, I thought this episode was really great. Really enjoy it. I just want to say thank you guys for watching this review. Really means a lot to me when you guys say, great review. Really liked it. Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for putting it up. Really means a lot to me. So I just want to say thank you to all you that say that. And again, I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.